16-hour time difference. To be honest with you, you get in the morning, shower, walk the town. Sydney, you can go to the Opera House, you can walk to the bridge, you can walk to a place called Darling Harbour. Chinatown, there's a fabulous market there called Paddy's Market. Walk around, it's easy to do. Jump on a city bus if there's time to go to the local beaches, they're fabulous. Next thing you know, it's like dinner time, have a bite to eat, and then you go to bed. All right? People ask me about money on that first day, like what do I do? You know, traveler checks are a thing of the past, obviously, you guys know that. But don't panic, you've got enough things to worry about. You have to remember, you're not going to the Middle East, you're going to somewhere that has everything that if you forget it, it's gonna be there, right? So I'll tell you what works for me. $500 cash Canadian in my hands. I take it there. If you're fortunate enough to land on a bank day, right? Don't change it in the airport, get into the city. If you've got some time, on that first day, go into their version of TD or RBC, and you just walk in there with your 500 Canadian and your passport and you change it. Right now we're about on par with the Aussie dollar. We make a smidge on the New Zealand dollar, which is a beautiful thing. And eventually that $500 will run out. And here's what you do after that. In my opinion, this works for me. My TD green card, right, which is just in a hole in the wall type thing. The downside to that is that everybody's card will be different. There's a Cirrus fee and an Interac fee, and then of course the exchange. What really works well for me is I put everything on credit card. Any expenses that come along, I put it on one credit card. On the other credit card, I have a zero balance on it. And then I prepay it before I go. So you're gonna need cash, because not everywhere is gonna take a credit card. So you take that credit card that you prepaid, and you walk, there you go, you walk into that bank again, and you throw down your passport and say, I want a cash advance. So, you know, if you hadn't prepaid it, the moment that money comes across the table, it's 20% they want, right, interest. Whereas if you've prepaid it, there's no interest. It's a beautiful thing. I've told too many people that, though, so now the damn credit card companies are charging $5-6 for that service. It used to be free. That was the way to go, and in my opinion, I still think it works really, really well. Okay, so that's another thing. You guys know you need visas, visitors visas for Australia. Piece of cake to get, and I'm not looking at you for any reason. You have a record that you're kind of hiding. New Zealand, we don't need a visitor's visa of any description if you're Canadian, but these guys can do it in 30 seconds. Since the Olympics, they made it so easy. We do it for you as opposed to you guys going to do it, because then they'll charge you $20 for it. Whereas if you come with Jan and her people, it's looked after. All right. So the big three. So can anybody guess for me what the other two of the big three might be? Everybody hear that? Barrier Reef is number 3. What's number 2?
Ayers Rock.
Ayers Rock. Okay, so everybody heard that. So again, these are things you're going to recognize. The city of Sydney, like I said, it's super easy to walk around. I always recommend a harbour cruise. See it from a different perspective. The commentary is great on it. Captain Cook does a harbour cruise there with a lunch. It's fabulous. You know you can climb that bridge now too. I was just there a few weeks ago. So you have 2 options. You can climb the top part or you can climb the lower part. One takes about 3 hours, the other is about 2 with the orientation. They are expensive, to the tune of around $300, but you certainly get a heck of a view from up there. So I expand a lot more about Ayers Rock further into the presentation. In days gone by, even today, people will say to me, Aubrey, is it worth it to go all that way to see a rock? I always say yes, but sometimes it's time, right? Do you have the time? I remind people that it's in the desert. So you're not there for 2 weeks. 4 or 5 days, you experience what it has to offer, and then you leave, okay? So, in days gone by, I have to point this out too. Has everybody heard of Richard Branson?
Yeah.
Who is he? He owns Virgin. So he has a few planes down there, which is a good thing because he makes the big boys like Qantas, and it's so cutthroat to fly down there, right? I was just out west to Alberta, and I think it was around $700-800. Those people would fall off their chair if we charged them, if they were charged $700-800 to fly from Sydney to Cairns or Sydney to Ayers Rock. It is so competitive there, so to fly domestically is a lot cheaper than what we're used to. So my point has always been, in the past, before he had his planes there, well, what's your budget and how much time do you have? Now, how much time do you have? Can you spare the extra 4 or 5 days? Because it is an experience. It is more than a rock. Yes, you go there, and again, I'll talk a little bit more about it further into the presentation. It's just such a unique place. Indigenous culture in Australia is special, right? Just like those guys coming here and experience our First Nations, going to a powwow, et cetera, et cetera. When you do the East Coast, which is the bit everybody does, you'll be exposed to Indigenous culture, but in my opinion, it's a little more staged. Do you know what I mean by that? You go to the Outback, the reservations are there, it's authentic, it's the real deal. They're not living like they did a million years ago, but a lot of them are sort of clinging to a lot of their old ways.